Okay, so we're underway and we're going to play the second match of today, and this time it is between Martyna Starosta and Vladimir Bochnicka. And this match will decide who will come out on top in Group D. Both of the players have 2 out of 2 in match points, and yeah, this will be very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very exciting match today. I've been very impressed by both of their play so far, and yeah, we had already today a very exciting match between Alexander Chambula and Adrian Söderström. And I will not spoil who won it in case anyone wants to watch it, but it was very even match and very exciting.
Very back and forth as well. Comebacks when you would not expect them. Okay, have they started? Yeah, they've started. All right. So let's go here. Okay, I'll flip the board for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have here? We've got Sveshnikov, if I'm not mistaken.
We do not have a Sveshnikov.
Oh.
We have a Kalashnikov.
Oh, Kalashnikov, yeah.
The Sveshnikov would, of course, be including the knight f6. But this move is one of the lines, and now bishop e7 is one of the main lines as well, and bishop e3. I do not know anything about this this variation. I have to be honest with you.
I do remember how Martyna did play against the Sveshnikov or the Kalashnikov against Anton, and she did go for some sort of, I think, knight d5 c4 idea, but obviously not in this position.
This move confuses me because you should not. Yeah, exactly. You should not allow this knight back into the game with knight c4.
Yeah.
You should. The point of this Sveshnikov is to play b5. Allowing that knight back is very strange, in my opinion. Hopefully, Vladimir has some sort of preparation or knowledge about this line, because if he doesn't, I would say that this is not exactly a great position for him, because if you think about this usual Sveshnikov Kalashnikov type of positions, usually you try to keep that knight stuck on a3. For example, imagine there being a knight on a3 now. There would be a threat of b4. You would have to move it back.
He might be calculating b5, b4 here immediately with ideas of taking on e4, but I'm not. That seems very risky to me. But perhaps it works. I don't know.
Oh, I can guess.
Yeah,
but I can't move.
Right click to remove the guess.
Maybe b4 is a possibility. I guess the knight goes to d5, and then you can try to take this. I guess that was your point.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting idea. I'm not sure if it works, but he's spending a bit too much time in according to my taste, honestly, because you cannot spend large amounts of time on unimportant decisions early on in the game. I do, however, like what he's chosen, trying to bring the knight to c4, because obviously such a knight is quite annoying. But if you imagine the knight comes here and you take it, black recaptures with the pawn, and all of a sudden the rook will be opened up, which would be very good news for black. So what would you try as white here?
I'm not sure, actually. It's quite hard to retain this, double bishops.
But I like this move.
Advantage, but I like this move a lot as well.
Because as we all know from the neither Sicilian or other types of Sicilians, this d5 square is the drawback with having pawns like that. And now Martyna is getting ready to capture on f6 and plant the knight on d5. The bishop can come to g4, pawn goes to f4, and you kind of have a ready-made attack that way.
Yeah. Even like bishop takes f7, you might not even want to take on d6. Just go knight d5 immediately.
I think that's for sure true. You're not really interested in this pawn. You're interested in the square.
It's quite a known fact how in the Ninedorf and a lot of the similar Sicilians, this d6 pawn is kind of a fake weakness. Instead, the d5 square is a lot more important.
Yeah, this is very true. Often this pawn can be sacrificed because it would open a line for the rook if you were to take it. But I like this idea also. I think very well played game so far. This bishop is a problem piece, so why not bring it around to a open diagonal? Obviously, don't do it too quickly because There might be some knight e7 ideas, but in the long run, the bishop is going to be able to come to b6. For example, if white ever plays f4, this bishop is ready to swing to b6.
Yeah. I mean, black's problem is this d5 knight, because there's no way of removing it, really, unless you manage to go like knight b6 or something like that.
That's a legit idea.
Yeah.
Going knight b6.
Unless you then take on c4, but that might be like something you don't want to do, but maybe, you know.
I think she should do it, and I think
Yeah.
she has done it. Now, obviously, you do have a weakness here.
Maybe you can play like queen e2 to put pressure on c4 while defending b2, like she does.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, black has to try to play around this knight. You cannot remove it, so what you gotta do is you gotta just bring everything to the king side and attack, or target this one. Maybe use the a pawn. Try to rook b7 is a universally very useful move, because you want to be able to bring the bishop to b6. Currently, that would be a little bit of an unfortunate move, but for example, rook b7 is connected to the idea of double stacking on here, and it's also connected to playing this move f5, but he does it immediately. And that makes sense because you can actually take it, which I didn't even realize.
Oh, I mean, they have played really well, but let's not forget they are low on time. I mean, Vladimir only has he's got.
Vladimir is incredibly low.
Yeah, true. I think he's kind of struggling with
take...
that in game, but
no, you can't.
But so has Martyna.
You can play knight e3. That's one option, but I guess no, that would hang a pawn. So she's trying to double stack on the d5,
and also just
keeping the knight protected. It's difficult to find a move here. Although there was actually the move bishop g5, which looks very interesting here.
Yeah.
But he wants the bishop on b6, understandably, because that was sort of the plan of going bishop d8.
What happens? Let's say just move the knight back to e3. You're kind of putting a lot of pressure on. Oh, oops. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that would be kind of unpleasant. Now I think maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about knight f6 as well.
I didn't.
I was just a bit scared if like you can move the queen, or you can like play something like d5 exactly.
Can you play d5? There's some weakness here.
This I thought would be fine for white, because you can just take that pawn.
This is clever because b2 is hanging. So now he will get a lot of initiative after rook takes b2.
Maybe rook d2.
Yeah, the rook is forced back, probably.
Yeah, unless you take maybe on e5. I feel like that is possible, maybe, because you can't really.
But you can take on e2.
Oh, that's a bit surprising actually.
But this is very dry. Or rook e5. I mean, white is pressing here.
There is some back, like.
Yeah,
I don't know who's pressing. Really, it's
but this pawn is going.
Yeah,
like it's very difficult to defend it.
True. So he's getting this one though if it's taken, because he's not, because back rank mate. Oops.
So he's have to play.
Oh, that's so sad for him.
But now rook a4.
Oh, she might be winning this. Look at the time as well.
I mean,
this is a lot.
Although this should be a very
maybe she should have gone like.
Yeah, that was not a good idea.
This
should be a very easy theoretical draw.
And
Simply because, although allowing this pawn to h5 was maybe not. Oh, but you should not allow the king. The only way to win such an endgame is to prevent the black king from getting involved into the game.
Yeah.
I do not see why you wouldn't push the pawn to a6.
But it's very important for black not to blunder here,
Yeah, it's not an easy position to play for black.
Let's say rook a7. I mean, king a4 also makes sense. You want to go maybe g4.
G4. But I would push the pawn to a6 first of all, because pushing the pawn to a7 is premature.
King e5 or king f5. That makes sense. Now black has some problems, right?
Yeah, because the king is gonna be out of the game.
Oh really? Wow. This is some pretty big problems.
This is not easy, and this putting the pawn on h5 was a very good idea.
Yeah.
Without that pawn on h5, it's an easy draw, I think.
Yeah, this was some really impressive technique by Martyna, I think. But we'll see. Maybe she won't win this.
It's still not
it might be
easy. But the problem is, if the king has to go here, then you have a very good position. So he plays king to d6.
Like g4? You can just go, right?
It feels very close to losing both of these.
That's
king to g6 now, right?
Oh, yeah,
and you're just taking this one.
Makes sense.
And he's gonna put the king on f6. But who's winning now?
g4 maybe? I mean, black is definitely not winning, but...
No, obviously. But But
Okay,
the question is,
this is
this is just an easy win, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's
if you
easy.
get the king back,
Yeah,
then
this is
then
just
this
a
is not
threat.
really even difficult. And now you can potentially. The only thing you should be careful about is pushing this pawn too far, because there are stalemate tricks.
Yeah, of course.
But it looks to me like she's doing this very nicely.
Yeah, his main
And yeah,
next
okay,
move.
he just
Okay,
resets.
wow, that's
Wow.
really an impressive performance by her. And now we'll see the next game.
An upset as well. And a
First-
French defense. I wish she would have played this against me.
Yeah,
in
she
real
played
play.
a Caracano. What did she
Yeah,
play? Yeah.
I wouldn't have been happy against the French either.
Oh, okay.
I can only play against the Sicilian. Whoa, what is even going on here?
I don't know. Apparently, this is theory, it seems.
Ooh.
Well, I guess they know more about the pros than we do.
No, but come on, what is h4 here?
No, but like
What
there's-
is the point?
But there's no way he can just blitz that. And she's got 3 minutes and 6 minutes on the clock and plays knight g4.
And h4 is super logical.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's a...
h4 has gotta be a mouse slip. He wanted to play h4.
Yeah, I don't really get the point.
Surely, h4.
But he blitzed it out, you know?
But he must have wanted to blitz out
Wait,
h.
did he think? I thought
He
3
thought-
seconds
he thought
for
after-
knight c3.
And this is already close to losing. I think he wanted to blitz out h3 or something and mouse slipped
Yeah.
and played h4. Or maybe he just accidentally like touched the h4 and it just moved forward. And that's why he did it so quickly. Okay, so that's not the way you want to start the match. You lose the
No.
first one, you play this move.
Okay, but how do you just win this as black now? You are a pawn up, right?
You're a pawn up, a clean pawn up,
Right.
and you got pressure here. The only thing to watch out for, I suppose, is knight to a4.
Yeah.
Which I guess could be a...
Yeah, she did defend, but
She
defend
does
that by...
defend And also, she introduces ideas of d4, bishop b5, which is very dangerous.
yeah.
This is so horrible for white. Honestly, I think... Yeah, now d4, this looks over. Because, like, bishop b5 is really, really unpleasant. What do you even play against d4?
I don't know.
Do you go queen e4? Is that the idea? But then I can take on f2. So that just does not work. She plays d4.
I'm just trying to find something for white here, but I just can't find anything.
Is it even possible to come back from such a start, you know, being the high-rated player, and then just going down 2-0 like this? And this is really, I doubt that he prepared h4 and played it or knew about it. I think I cannot explain it in other words than it was a mouse.
I guess one of the ideas with knight h6 is to have this knight g4 idea, which is why you
Yeah,
go h3, right?
It makes sense.
And h4 just strengthens that idea, which is why she played so quickly.
Either h3 or, you know, you want to do something and your mouse is accidentally here and you just, you know, kind of accidentally play that because...
He's thinking a lot now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is over. Because the problem is also queen e4 is what you want to play. But, I mean, I think there are a couple of ways to win. f5 is maybe one way.
Yeah, that's...
And I think also knight takes f2 would be a pretty flashy way as well. And then dc3 opening up a pretty nasty pin there. So, I think queen e4 is just losing on the spot. And if you don't play queen e4...
I mean, knight a4, you just go bishop b5.
Yeah, so a3... I guess that is very logical. I suppose that is the only real try.
What happens if you just go back with a knight, like knight a6?
You have a couple. You could go back. You could also try to push d3. Try to be creative. Maybe a bit unnecessary to create chaos like that, but you could.
Yeah.
But I would... I mean, the point is that if you drop to c6 or something, you block the bishop.
Yeah, and also you can play knight a4 against that, which gives white some sort of counterplay.
That's true as well. But knight a6, I mean, the knight is a bit passive there. Maybe white tries b4. I don't know really, but
You can also take on c3. You're gonna be material up, right?
you're gonna be 2 pawns up after that, and the threat of bishop b5 is still gonna exist. So so that's also a plan. And also there's this move with d3. Which
What happens if you play like takes on c3, take on b4, and then bishop takes f2, rook takes bishop b5? I guess just
then you move the queen. And,
queen
and there's
d2.
there's no rook hanging.
Yeah.
And another problem is you would like to play obviously takes, and here, but after takes,
She does take like this. But obviously...
Yeah, she takes back simply. But now maybe you have some counterplay with white. Yeah, he plays knight g5. This knight is a bit in danger. I feel like he survived.
Yeah, maybe. But what was the problem with bishop takes f2, rook takes, and then bishop d5? Because queen d2 is not an option, and against queen c2, I guess you can go bishop d3, right?
Yeah, but you take on d3 and you try to survive.
Yeah, but queen takes f2, right?
The knight was on f3, so you have some protection. So she plays h5 in order to cement the knight. But there is obviously a weakness on f7 now. And the king is in the middle, so obviously there is some sort of counterplay, but it's still. This is interesting because the bishop is hanging and the rook is hanging.
Oh.
So he must have found some ideas or missed some ideas. Queen f3 is interesting.
What happens if you just take on...
You give the rook, but you have to take the rook because there's a threat
true.
of here and there's a threat of here. So queen f3. Another interesting idea is to take on f7 first. Let's say queen f3, take on a1, take on f7, king to d8.
What happens queen f3? Okay, f6, I guess you can... What do you do against that?
He takes on f7, exactly. So now you take on a1 is more or less forced, because if you take on h8, you can take on b1.
But still, like, bishop a1, what about bishop g6?
Yeah, bishop g6 is a brilliant move. Or bishop... he just gives up a rook, he just goes for it. But this is very dangerous as well, because queen f3 is an idea, bishop g5. Bishop g5 check, and the rook is coming to c1, but
then bishop
she's
c6.
gonna try to block like that. And it's not gonna be enough, is it?
She's up 6 points of material.
He's gonna check and he's gonna check, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. Because the problem is if you try to bring more pieces, she will be in time for rook f8. So bishop f4, but this is, I don't even get it. Yeah, this is obviously way too slow.
I mean, yeah, now f2 is hanging in the end, and you can just sack a piece or something. And just king b8.
You do allow this one to be taken, but it's not the end of the world.
It doesn't matter that much. No, just... I guess you could take on f2 maybe, or no? No, you can't.
You can play queen e4. Just forcing the queens off, really. Because of the pressure on g2.
Right.
And if you were to try to keep them on, knight to e3.
No, she is kind of getting into...
That's kind of a scary move to play, because obviously c5...
Oh, that's very brave.
I mean, I guess she has it all worked out.
Yeah.
f3 would be the try.
Okay, she won on time. Next game then, I guess. You can flip the board.
Wow, so 2-0 to Martyna Starosta against Vladimir Bochnicka this early. I was not expecting that. If she wins this game, I mean, mentally you do not come back. As Alexander Shambula said, like, there are some things mentally you just can't get back from in such a with you know the format that we're having here.
Yeah, you
cannot. I mean, if you lose 3 in a row, we've seen it once. I think Alexander Shambula himself came back 3-0 against Simon Sagovic. But apart from that, I think it is just very, very difficult to come back from 3-0. And obviously he's playing also with the black pieces here, as Martyna started with white. So
you know the theory here? I don't remember.
I'm aware that this is...
I thought it was like takes and knight a3 or something like that.
The main line definitely goes takes knight a3. There's also the new main line is, I think, pawn to a5, sacrificing a pawn, but that pawn is not really takeable, so you get bishop a7. Bishop g5 is perhaps another line. I'm not aware of it, and neither is Vladimir. It seems he's spending quite a lot of time on his last move, rook to e8. But I guess the point is that in these a5 lines are very, very difficult to judge. I find them, and this line is very scary because you gain a pawn with white, but black gains significant counterplay. And And now Martyna decides to go ahead and take this pawn on e5. Perhaps the idea is that if you take back, you can play queen takes d8, rook takes d8, and bishop captures on f6.
That endgame does look quite nice for white, I think.
You do give up the bishop pair, though.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Maybe she's trying to,
Even then, you don't have to give up the bishop pair.
Yeah, for sure. But it doesn't feel like she's playing anything critical here. She just wants probably to...
I mean, if I was her, I would not really mind a draw, No,
I see.
Vladimir is definitely not a weak player. And, when you're 2-0 up, a draw is a good result.
A draw is indeed a good result.
It's always a good result.
But I think the problem is when you play for a draw, you tend to lose.
That's true.
It's very difficult to play for a draw. At least for me, I always lose when I try to... Every time I tell myself I'm happy with the draw in this game, I always lose.
Yeah.
Like 100% of the time. So that's... But I don't think she's playing for draw either. I think she's just playing this because she believes in this way of playing. And obviously these are sort of the bishops that are very typical of this opening. You get seriously decent bishops, and it's difficult for white to really push pawns. But on the other hand, what do you do against this one?
It's kind of annoying because the only way to break the pin is to play g5, and that's such a weakening move.
And I think g5 is just,
it's
upright almost.
Oh, he does play it, but now bishop g3, and then
But I guess he wants to say that, bishop g3, rook e8, and he's just gonna pressure this pawn.
Yeah, but the f7 pawn is so
Queen
weak.
f5 would be one idea. Forcing king g7 more.
What about just... Yeah.
Because you want to play e5, but the problem is your queen is pinned. So what about queen to f5? I think this is a very unpleasant move.
Yeah, or
threatening
h4 first, maybe.
Threatening queen g6. So, okay, she throws in captures. Queen f5 now. I do not see how you defend against this because king g7, e5.
That's a big problem.
And suddenly, maybe you can survive. You can take with the idea that d2 is hanging in the end.
But now
that's
queen
just
g6.
a horrible move.
Right?
Queen g6 just.
King h8, queen h6 is just.
No, that's just a massive miss.
I think you blundered that.
Yeah, that's just a massive miss. Bishop takes f7 even. It's maybe even stronger.
You might as well just takes and...
Yeah, she takes on f7 because, it's almost mate.
Yeah.
Wow, so she's going 3-0 up.
We've seen this before. But now it's just mate in one. No, it's not. Mate h7.
She's gonna play e5, I think.
Or just queen takes h6, bishop h7, bishop g6, right? Kind of not easy.
Oh, yeah, you can, because queen e7, you just take and take. Oh, we've been disconnected, but I'm assuming this game won't last for long anyways. Bishop g6 played. And rook f7 is not possible. He plays this, but indeed.
No f8, thanks. Wow.
3-0.
That's so impressive by her.
What a performance. Wow.
How do you feel? Flip the board.
My bad. Wow, that was really... I did not expect that. Do you think it can be... If she sweeps him, it will be probably the greatest achievement in this series so far.
Yeah. 5-0 against Vladimir. Vladimir is the highest rated in our tournament, may I add. He's 24-20 or something.
That's a seriously high rating.
Yeah.
And she's won all her matches so far. What a performance.
Yeah.
Wow. So we have a normal Tarrasch French here. Martyna decides on playing bishop e7, which is a well-known line by now, but they've transposed into a usual French. But he's playing. Usually you would go e5 here, and then knight e7. And for example, I'm assuming that Martyna would be very interested in playing the move g5, which is a very trendy line. But
I actually looked at this recently.
But Bochnicka decides to castle, and obviously you do have the option to go into an IQP here, which I've played myself with white a lot. Exactly.
Against me, but you were black.
I've played this with white mainly, a million times.
Yeah, a long time ago. I think Whoa. Okay, so he really wants this G5 idea, or she really wants this G5 idea. I'm not sure if that's.
No, but that is not a move. That's worse than Vladimir's accidental h4 before.
Yeah, it is maybe playable if you play e5 here. because then G5 idea comes anyway.
But
Then
even so,
H5
you
is
don't
also-
really want H5 in those positions always.
Yeah,
because
unless
G5 is more about winning these pawns. I mean, maybe you have to
Yeah.
protect the G4 pawn, but
Yeah, exactly.
but the thing is also, why would he play that? You cannot castle now because of
Yeah,
because
you
of
can.
E5.
Let's say you open up the position, just take on E5 or something. D5.
I think there's a good chance that Vladimir is getting this game back. Now I would probably just go for it or take even.
Yeah, I like taking.
Because if you take with the knight, you can even go knight to c4, gaining a tempo.
Yeah,
on
and
the
if you
queen.
take with the pawn, I mean that king is so.
And you take on
so
c5
bad.
and you have a structural advantage as well. So
Yeah.
so that is just not working. So she has to take with the knight.
Knight
Another
C4, knight
couple of
E5.
ideas. Knight c4, knight e4. c4 d5 is an idea to look out for. That king is really weak, and you're far away from the queen side. You're far away from the king side as well. I mean, you could go king side, but then you're mated.
But why would you play H5 if you know want
I
to
mean,
castle
I
short?
think h5 is just a poor move.
Yeah, I mean, she really wanted that transposition, but I guess
Yeah, I think she was sort of move or the tricked, and she wanted to do something
Yeah.
aggressive, and she was forced to sit with a positional position, and she decided, "Fuck it, let's just go."
yeah.
And that was maybe not the.
But also, what does she have to lose if she's still in the lead after this?
That's true, and I mean, with the 3-0 in, like, if you win one more match or one more game, you've secured at least a tie in the match, and I think also she's more concerned about playing fun, interesting chess in such a tournament, which is very understandable as well. So,
But she's gonna castle long, I think.
but this one hangs with a fork if she
Oops.
does.
Yeah, that's true.
And now, for example, the idea we were talking about with c4 d5 is very, very appealing. You could also go c4 bishop f4, just putting black in all kinds of pins. A3 with the idea c4. You obviously there was knight b4. I think you could have allowed knight b4,
Maybe.
to be honest, but it makes sense to just stop it and then c4 bishop f4. If white gets to play c4, black can resign,
Yeah.
because against
What
that
if-
bishop you're just not surviving.
I would want to play c4 here as black, but the e5 knight is actually defending that pawn, so we're attacking it. So yeah, I was thinking about this as well. You'd like to get rid of this e5 knight so you can castle long, I guess.
Actually, that's a good move. I feel like maybe a3 was a bit slow,
But I thought c4 here kind of.
but
Brought
then
up
you're
some
able
problems.
to move back. Maybe to
Then
f6.
d5. Oh wait, e5 is higher. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you would have but bishop f4 and this one is taken maybe. Then you have c5.
You're gonna have to look out for like crazy knight takes f7 ideas though. c4, knight b6, knight takes f7.
I think he's looking at knight f7 now, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
This was another idea, but honestly I didn't find it too critical because you can maybe get rid of this one, maybe put the pawn.
You'd rather
Okay,
not
no.
play
No,
f6,
you
but
can't
you can maybe go bishop c6,
can,
I guess.
Can you castle here?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Give it this one and then go rook f8.
Yeah, it splits,
Yeah, and not only is it blitz, but I mean...
Or you can just go bishop c6, defend that f7 pawn, and put the bishop on the same diagonal as the queen.
That's true. Now castle's long, and
yeah.
black is back in the game. She
That's
manages
crazy.
to neutralize this as well.
Wow.
There is one thing.
The rook is kind of trapped though. The e5 rook. Like if you manage to go f6 and the e6 pawn isn't hanging, the rook. Okay, to be fair, h5 is hanging. I just realized.
Yeah, and a problem could be that this pawn would be hanging.
Yeah, for example, knight f6, bishop c6. If you take with the queen, which is perhaps the most logical, then rook takes c5 is winning the entire game.
That's a problem.
So I guess.
Because the queen covers d1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would
Yeah.
have been some background ideas. And she's down to 20 seconds.
I mean, the tables have kind of turned, and now it's Martyna with the time pressure.
Wait, what about c takes d4? Okay, she didn't play it. C
Yeah, I was
takes
thinking
d4
about-
was very interesting. You would have dropped a bunch of stuff, but
Oh yeah, that's true.
oh, 97 is strong because you
Yeah,
protect the.
that was kind of the move I was thinking about, but it's like
now rook d4, and you're just better.
you're better.
No, okay, you're not better. You're not worse. Queen b6.
Yeah, queen b6. Maybe you can go like
Queen
bishop
e7, eyeballing these ideas always.
Yeah, and like the c5 rook, although it is strong, it is also kind of like trapped.
This is such a weird position, with,
Yeah.
with the pin and with the back ranks.
Bishop c3. What do you do against that? Like rook d6, or do you like counterattack that c5 rook somehow?
With queen d6 or something.
Maybe.
But maybe white would just protect it with b4.
Yeah, I guess.
Very, very
Oh wait,
strange.
maybe you can just take on e4 with a bishop, and then rook d1.
What?
Bishop takes e4. I was thinking. Oh, I'm just kidding. No. Okay, yeah, I mixed up.
But she's getting ready with king b8.
Yeah.
And now he has to trade. Honestly, I think black is just better now because the rook on c5 is misplaced.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You could go for such an endgame, but it is never winning, and you might even be in some trouble. And if he loses now, Vladimir Bochnicka, then that's pretty bad news. He has to go for this, but e5 as well, and black is just already better. And what a position he had earlier. And
yeah.
honestly,
he can't do this on time though. I mean, it's not that over.
Honestly, he's just getting outplayed here. What a performance from Martyna, actually.
I agree with Alexander. He says black has a very nice position now.
Yeah, I think we all agree about that. Black is just doing well, and now also she's bringing the rook to g6. But obviously it is a time scramble, and now h3 is hanging.
Yeah, but you gotta look out for.
You gotta look out for the rook on g6. So
yeah, exactly.
Rook d5, rook d5. He manages to swap.
Now the b5.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna take with the queen.
But still, another. I mean, the rook on g5, although it is.
Now there's some kind of.
I mean, can you defend that? If you manage to defend it, it's good, but I don't think you can.
You can take an h4.
Yeah, but still the.
1 second.
Ooh. Okay. Maybe.
Queen h1.
Yeah, no idea what's happening. It's such a time scramble right now.
Yeah, Vladimir played his last move with like 2 seconds. There was queen d1 as well, and now now it's over.
Wow. Ooh. Whoa! Whoa! No way!
Oh my god!
Oh, I missed that.
What is? Oh, that's such a joke.
Crazy.
And then he almost lost some time before he took. That's such a joke, honestly. What?
Wow.
What is that move? And Vladimir is back in business, I suppose.
Damn. Okay, but we're back to a Sicilian now.
And I should flip the board if I'm correct.
Yeah, you should.
So now we have a true true Sveshnikov. What is that queen on h1? What a tricky piece.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, and this is actually a line I have seen before. This is a very, very tricky line because the idea is that you have the threat of playing. What is the idea now again?
I don't know.
Like, I know it's a tricky move, but I don't really get why.
It's probably like some crazy queen a3 idea stuff against.
I think against a6, I think queen a3 could be a move.
Yeah.
And also, I think queen c3 could be a threat.
Yeah.
Queen a3 is the move here, but I don't really get why you can't just go ahead and castle, like bishop e7 and castle. Do you think that it's like bishop e7, bishop g5? Yeah, bishop g5, exactly. I had a vague memory of this move, but honestly, why can't you take? I think he's gonna take. He's gonna take there. Like, I think the main line goes f6, if I'm not completely mistaken. And I know that this is just not good for white. I mean,
Are you sure this is not like?
Okay. Yeah. I've seen this line before actually.
Okay, so
if you take this, you can take it here, and if you take the bishop, you can maybe take the knight as well. So maybe that's the point. But I'm pretty sure the main line goes f6.
Like, even if this is slightly better for black, let's not forget that Martyna's almost more than twice as much as time.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult line. I think you have to know it.
But what is she thinking now? That you have to take on a8, right?
Or you could have thrown in that, but take on a8, and you could also have considered throwing in bishop takes c7. I'm not sure how that would have ended either.
Yeah.
I was discussing this line. I'm not sure how this is really, because this could be very good for black. And if Vladimir manages to win here, then everything can happen. Like still only three points for Martyna, and you need that last fourth point to feel comfort. And Black is gonna, and now as you said before, maybe Black was a bit better, but White had the initiative. Now it's the opposite. Perhaps White is a bit better. I don't even know about that, but maybe like in best case White is a bit better, but Black has the initiative.
Yeah, but the position is a lot more simplified. There's not that many pieces on the board like knights, so in that sense, I feel like Vladimir is very happy.
Now e4. I think this is super uncomfortable after e4, because the rook is going to e8 and f5.
But maybe e4 you can just move, like take on b5 or something.
But then it makes no sense to stop on d3.
True.
Because obviously this move e4 is a nice move to have played.
Yeah, it's not really weakening in any way.
Yeah, and ideas of e3. Although I do not really get how you're challenging White if she manages to castle safely.
Okay, what if you play e3?
I think e3 you just castle, yeah.
And then let's say take on c2 perhaps?
You gotta remember, of course, that Martyna currently is an exchange and a pawn up. Which is,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's unfortunate news for Vladimir, and now she's gonna castle her king to safety. A couple of pawns will be taken, but she still has somewhat of a material advantage. Queen e5. So getting ready for e3.
Yeah, it only requires to get one more pawn for Vladimir to,
And that pawn is actually
get equal material. And also, let's not forget, in such an open position, the bishop pair can be quite menacing.
The rooks can, of course, be menacing as well, but mainly with these bishops coming to f5 and g5 most likely, those are very strong bishops, and it's not easy for the rooks because obviously already the rook cannot go to c1, and after e3, the rook will not have a fun time on b1 either. And usually they say that the exchange is really only worth a pawn and compensation, or I don't know how to phrase it, but if you have a pawn and compensation for the exchange, it's usually fine.
Yeah. And now he's trying to invoke some light square weaknesses. I guess bishop d2 makes sense as well. Bishop g5.
He wants those types of ideas, I'm assuming.
And next maybe bishop h3. And if you're able to, maybe you play e3, queen e4.
So queen a4 is logical because... Oh, actually this is...
Bishop d7,
yeah,
right?
this is such a strong move because if f5...
What if you go...
Bishop d7
what if you go
everything.
bishop h3 or bishop g4 first and then play f5 after bishop d7? Like,
But the problem is e4 is hanging.
Oh.
So it's kind of a double threat.
Yeah, maybe e3 first, but then f4.
One thing you could do is you could play bishop f5, bishop d7, bishop g6, but rook takes b7 is an issue.
Oh.
This pawn and d5 has been hanging the entire time also, by the way.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't get why he didn't take it earlier.
Maybe rook d1 stuff, but I mean, he's getting it either way now.
Yeah, and now obviously the problem for White is taking this pawn is risky with such a battery on this diagonal over here. Obviously taking it with the queen would lose on the spot. There's a bishop f5. You could take it with the rook because after bishop f5 you do have rook d4, but going into such a position is a bit risky. I would not really do it if I didn't have to. So I prefer her move here, rook a to d1, bringing the last piece into the game. And now you are able to take this pawn on e4, which she also does do. And the feeling is that White is on her way to converting this. She's still not really there, but after rook d4, or rook to c4.
Rook d4 would hang bishop c2, right?
Yeah, I'm stupid.
Okay.
And only 20 seconds for Vladimir. Now she goes rook d4, nice move. Targeting this one. Yeah, bad news for Bochnicka, this really. What a performance though from Martyna.
Very impressive.
Yeah, really, really, really impressive. Vladimir's a really strong opponent, and honestly, she's just been the better player. I mean, it was unfortunate for Vladimir, the first h4 move. We can ask him about it later, but
it was also unfortunate for Martyna to lose that position with the queen on h1.
Oh, what happened now?
What's the problem?
Oh, I thought it was black to move here. I was like,
Oh,
what?
rook d6 is so nasty.
And now the queen is hanging.
Yeah. Oops.
Wow. 4-1.
Yeah.
So Vladimir gets a game back. Not by luck, but by like an incredible queen on h1, and then Martyna immediately goes back to winning ways.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, honestly, I'm honestly kind of lost for words. This is super impressive. Vladimir is the strongest guy by far in this tournament.
Yeah.
Rating wise, at least for now. Maybe also Aaron, but
yeah, sure.
But I mean, those two are by far the best, and William,
Yeah.
I suppose, as well. But they are by far the best, and Martyna is not on that level elo wise, but she's showing here that she's a strong player. And now she refuses from the h5 move this time.
Oh, what's that?
But this is also not really correct. I think it is better to just go for the IQP, because
I think
that IQP is not fantastic. We've had that position.
Yeah, we had that position. It was such a quick draw, if I remember correctly.
And I've had it, like, I think against you I've played it in Blitz and Rapid and stuff, but I've played that stuff in classical as well.
As white, right?
As white. I'm not sure if the knight belongs on b3 though. Maybe you could try to sacrifice that pawn, but because now a5 is a bit annoying. You have to play a4, it seems. But then the knight on b3 is just massive.
And also that b4 score is kind of weakened, so you can perhaps go knight b4. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, I played the French a lot myself. Back when I was younger, and obviously getting a knight undisturbed on b4, forcing that bishop.
Bishop b5 makes a lot of sense, no?
But the bishop is out of play here, and
Yeah,
you're ready to play knight b8, bishop d7.
And that's just a French player's dream, to exchange off those bishops.
Yeah, and she goes instantly for that idea as well. Knight b8 and bishop is going to d7. The bishop has to be on this diagonal, but as it is, very difficult to get it there. And I think, again, Martyna has just won the opening battle here.
Yeah. Like, even though she doesn't have an advantage, probably, maybe, it is like, she's extremely happy with that draw. She's gonna win the match 4.5 to 1.5 against, like, the strongest player, not only in the group, but the entire tournament.
And also, obviously, I mean, you're playing with the black pieces. You cannot expect an advantage out of the French, but
True.
But managing to get rid of the light square bishops without really damaging the development. This knight on b3 is a spectator.
And let's say, like, queen e2, you're gonna run into, like...
I think queen e2 here was more accurate, probably, because you want to keep it difficult for this knight. After this...
Now queen e2, maybe rook knight a2 is like an idea, or something along those lines. So you take some b4.
But now you could even take with the pawn, activating the rook, and this knight would just have to drop back, basically. But
yeah, unless you go a5, I guess.
Yeah, but I doubt it, because the knight is just not doing anything. You might as well drop it back.
Unless you manage to go to c5, but that seems somewhat unlikely.
Yeah, that's why I was... she took with the queen, actually, instead of taking with the pawn. That also makes sense, because a4... actually, that makes a lot of sense, because a4 is weak, and knight to b6.
You're just gonna look out for rook c7 here.
That's true, rook c7 is very
Then you're
strong.
gonna have to go like rook d8, or you can take a4.
You could take, but taking that also is an idea. I guess you go rook c7 and you look for continuations afterwards, but actually knight b8 could be a move. and that knight is just going to a6 to drag that rook away. It's a move. I'm not sure if it's a good one, but it's a move for sure. Although the only thing I would watch out for actually is knight c5.
On the other hand, maybe you can potentially take on b2.
Black is basically spoiled for choice here. She has a couple options. She decides to go for this pawn.
And then she's gonna go rook b8, I guess?
Yeah, of course.
And then forcefully exchange off that active rook.
And then also, the problem for white is that you can't move the knight because of the b2 pawn, so you're gonna have to protect it with knight d2, but then you're forced to go really, really passive, and black has this a pawn. You could drop back and push a4. This is really bad news. I think she's about to unless Vladimir finds some very key resources here.
Whoa.
Okay, speaking of key resources, maybe he found something. Knight takes
I was
pawn.
thinking about knight c5, but I was like, you can just take it. But knight a5 is
That's
very...
brilliant. If it
But what
works.
happens if rook takes? Oh, queen takes a4.
Yeah, and then the d7 knight hangs.
And what happens if you... Okay, so
And
if
it's
you
the
take
same
on
thing.
d1?
If you take on d1, you just take back.
Oh,
That's
right.
the interesting part.
Oh.
Because
But maybe you can take on b7, knight takes rook b8 after
But
that.
if you mean takes, oh, that's actually true. You can do that, and then rook bit, and then you have. But then white is gonna try. No, he's not, because you can interpose.
Yeah, you can't really. Yeah.
So you have to bring the knight back, and then rook takes b2, and is a level endgame, I suppose.
That's kind of what she has to go for. She's got a lot of time though.
Yeah, I was saying this, that Martyna is gonna win this game unless he finds a brilliant resource, and he
Yeah.
he pulls out a brilliant resource.
But
She's gonna go
is
for
it
it.
really brilliant enough to, win the game? What about bishop?
Is definitely not brilliant enough to win the game, but it's brilliant enough to hold the draw most likely, or at least to.
Knight c6. Black doesn't have any weaknesses, to be fair. It's this backwards d4 pawn for white.
It's a weakness, but that is
Yeah,
an
7th
idea.
rank, to be fair.
The black pieces are a bit passive, I suppose, and also the back rank is weak. But that can be said for white too. You cannot play rook c7 because of rook b1.
Yeah, exactly. And also now that knight is hanging, so
So it's gonna go to c6 probably. But then maybe she's just going to go back then and say that.
If she manages to plant her knight on c4 after that, I think she'll be very happy. Like bishop f8 and then next knight b6.
Yeah, and you have some plans. You could try f6 if you want to try to sort of force matters. She's willing to give this bishop up, which is very strange to me because.
I mean, there's no way Vladimir would win that though, right? I mean, knight takes, rook takes.
No, but I mean, you cannot win with it either. You gotta.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought you wanted to keep this one if you wanted to play.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably take on b4 or.
But maybe they're saying that like the pawns are on one side and the bishop is actually somewhat of a useless piece in such a situation.
True.
And they're saying that they don't really want the bishop, and Vladimir is now getting ready for rook to a7.
It is still a bit tricky. I mean, that f7 pawn is actually a weakness, and it's kind of difficult to defend for black if, let's say, rook a7, knight d8.
So you go for counterplay, knight c4.
Yeah, that's kind of what you do, I guess.
But knight d8 is unpleasant.
Yeah. I like this g3 move he played beforehand to get rid of these back rank weaknesses.
I think this is close to winning now. Really nice endgame technique from Vladimir, and the knight takes a5 move is.
But knight e3.
But it's just king h3.
Oh, right.
And then h6 falls and knight g5 and it's good night probably.
Wow.
This is honestly, that is brilliant.
Yeah,
Like,
that's very instructive.
He has not played well this match, but knight g4 is such a clinical. He has not played well at all in this match, but this game is.
Like, he hasn't even played that badly. I just feel like Martyna's played so exceptionally. But this game,
This game is
yeah,
brilliant.
he's played very well.
Knight takes a5 is one of the more incredible tactical shots we've seen so far in this.
You can flip the board. You can flip the board.
So okay, Vladimir is still sort of hanging by a thread. He cannot win the match, so the best he can get is a draw. But with a draw, he might well be winning the group. I don't know. And we have another one of these archangels. Last time this went horrifyingly bad for Bochnicka. Hopefully he can try to play a little bit better this time. And this time, okay, Rook E1 was played last time as well in castles.
Yeah, and then Bishop G. But he thought a bit actually about castling. So maybe he doesn't know this Rook E1 line.
But Rook E1 castles is sort of the main. I think
because I remember he started thinking. He blitzed that off.
Usually, I think you play Rook E1 immediately.
Oh yeah, that's
maybe.
true. Wait.
This is definitely the main line. And this seems to be a main line as well with this h6 g5 because he played it quickly last time as well.
I mean, he didn't play g5 though.
Oh no, he played Rook E8 last time.
Played g5 too late after Queen f3.
That's true. He plays g5 now. And she goes knight takes.
I mean, if she managed to get some draw checks and Rook E3, Rook G3, That's kind of.
I mean, the thing I've learned about these sacrifices is that usually, unless you're able to play knight c3 to d5 or maybe f4, they don't work because black plays king g7, rook h8, rook h6.
Okay, but this is blitz. It's not easy to defend a blitz, you know.
But the bishop is very misplaced and it's blitz and this is an idea. So maybe. Obviously, this is a bit too slow. You're not in time for such an idea, although you would like to do so.
Yeah.
I think... I was about to say, I think you play king g7 and then you think, but...
What happens when bishop takes f6?
The bishop here is hanging in the end.
Oh, right.
So that's not possible. Bishop g4 is actually a good move as well. This is also a typical idea.
Yeah.
And
what
then
about
you
queen
can continue
d3 maybe? Try to go for g3, but... Yeah,
queen to d3 makes sense. Played. Pawn takes instantly.
That's but surprising.
e5. Isn't that game over?
It is? What? Why?
Because you have the threat of queen to g6.
Oh, right. And on knight takes e5, you just take
take it and queen g6. I think that was...
That's the same tactic as last game. But they didn't play it now.
Nah,
queen g3 also makes sense. You're threatening...
Yeah, it looks close to winning as well. How do you... Like knight e5, but...
I think taking on d4 was a huge mistake.
But how do you even like... How do you protect everything now? Knight e5, f4, but then dc3...
f3 or h3 though? You're gonna win the g4 bishop, right?
h3 is a good idea. f3 would maybe
not so good.
a good idea, but h3 and you get this bishop. And that would level material and the king would remain weak on g8. Yeah, this is not good news for Vladimir. What a performance this has been from Martyna. Like, it's one thing to be a higher rated player in a game, you know, but to
what happens on knight takes e4? I mean, it's not good enough, but I guess queen h4 just no
actually knight e4 is very interesting. You have to take it, I suppose. But there's a check in the end.
I have no idea what's happening.
There's also knight h5 with the same idea.
No, but then I was thinking queen h4.
Then queen h4.
That's kind of how I came to the conclusion of knight e4, but maybe there's something like, let's say you take on d8, and then take on g3, take on g3, and then
that's not.
Then you're gonna have to take on c3. But on the other hand, white is up. No, wait, white is not.
No, white is not up a piece, so it's
white
not.
Wins a piece, but it's not enough because they're already a piece down. Right.
He's thinking. He's looking at it. But knight e4, I think rook e4 is the move, and then maybe even pawn takes d4.
Yeah.
Just getting ready to take this one. Too complicated for me, honestly.
Yeah, this is too much.
He plays it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if Martyna can find. She's got 2 minutes more on the clock.
But I think this e5. I'm still a bit like e5 here looked completely over. Do you see anything you can?
I don't know. I mean,
I think it looks just over.
Yeah.
Probably she missed it.
I mean, she played queen g3 quite quickly.
So you take it, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
And then he takes this.
And then take on g4, queen c1.
Now you have a bunch of moves. Like, pawn takes d4 is one idea. Pawn to f4 is one idea.
Right. But you are a piece down.
Pawn to f4 is a very interesting idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can gain... She plays cd4 and he instantly replies queen g6. I was expecting queen c1 take on b2, just go crazy and see what happens.
I mean, then you can take on g4 and it's at least perpetual, right?
Oh, that's true, and you gotta win.
So this is interesting. You're going for the e4 rook.
But what about just developing the knight? Knight to c3?
Yeah,
or knight to d2. Yeah, knight c3 maybe here. He's like.
But wait, bishop f5?
Did he save the piece?
Yeah. Because you can't really take on d5. But on the other hand, he's too... It's going to be equal material, right? No, wait. What is going to lose a pawn in the end? So queen takes g6, I was thinking.
But queen takes g6, you take with the knight.
Oh, I thought you had to take with the bishop. All right. And if you take on e5, then queen
g3. So you're winning a piece.
Oh!
And she's
Oh!
and now
Wow, it's the same tactic as the last.
and she had the same tactic as well
Yeah.
earlier.
Wow, no way. Is he going to make a comeback?
Now it's everything is open.
No way. Okay, so
And
this
Martyna is going away from the
this
French.
is actually the final game.
No matter what, yeah. No matter what.
Yeah.
It's the final game. But that was, I mean, she had the E5 tactic as well in the last game. She could have won that one with the same tactic, and then she.
Wow. I feel like Martyna's played really well, but Vladimir has just been really good when it comes to he's taking his chances, you know.
I think he's played pretty poorly, except for these 2 last games.
Yeah,
he suddenly just
he just needed some warm up.
Yeah, he needed a long warm up, but now, basically for everyone joining now, this is the final game of the match. We have 4 points for Martyna Starosta. We have 3 points for Vladimir Bochnicka. It's first to 4.5, so a draw is good enough for Martyna. Vladimir needs to win, but he's also playing with the white pieces, so it's almost like an Armageddon game.
Yeah.
But with no time difference. And this is, I think, I really enjoy playing this plan with black. You bring the queen to e8, you bring the knight to h5, queen goes to g6, knight goes to f4, and you're just saying to white, okay, I have a couple of weaknesses, but what are you gonna do about it? Actually, I think it was more accurate to play the move a5, because it's well known that with the pawn on a5 and a4, this structure is not a danger at all for black. But when you allow this pawn to a5, this can be a slight advantage to white, actually, objectively. But in a blitz game against such an idea, it is very difficult to play.
Yeah.
I used this idea with colors reversed in last year's Swedish Junior Championship against Erik Dingers, but I did not manage to win the game, unfortunately. I drew basically all my games there. But okay, she goes for the idea that I was talking about. Knight goes to h5. And Vladimir does what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to gain some space over on the queen side. Obviously, white has a very, very nice space advantage on the queen side. Black is trying her best to bring resources into the attack. I'm very curious. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll just say that white is a bit passive, and I'll just go ahead and mention that, I mean, these 2 games today have been very even when it comes to results, at least, and it's so close. I mean, both matches have been 8 games, if I remember correctly. So this is basically the game to decide the result, if it's going to be a draw or if it's going to be in Vladimir or Martyna's favor.
Yeah, basically, Vladimir is unable to win the match. The best he can get is a tie if he wins this game. The only real... I mean, the problem for black here is you'd love to take with the pawn, fixing your structure, but after d4, you're just a bit worse.
Yeah,
and after rook f4, Vladimir plays rook a2. He's getting ready to protect the f2 pawn.
What about bishop? Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I thought bishop h4, but maybe you can just take it.
She plays bishop h4.
Go there.
But I'm not really sure what the point is. Like, if you just play knight g4, for example.
That's true.
Because then it's under fire. And you'd have to go back.
Maybe knight g4, h5. No, wait, then knight g5.
But knight g4, you can go back, and probably h5 is a good idea, and the knight has got to move again.
Yeah.
And actually, you got to move to h2 because this one. Actually, knight g4, rook f3. So knight g4 is not a good idea.
Oh, right.
Because of h5 and then the pin. That position is probably playable for white, but I wouldn't go for it. Another move you could try is just to play king h1, just to kind of step out of this. Eyeball the move g3.
Yeah.
Obviously, g3 now might work.
I didn't.
But
I thought that would be nice for black, but maybe it's playable.
G3.
Because takes king h1, queen h.
I think the problem is that the rook is a good defender and you swing it into the game. So probably you should just admit that you were wrong and play the bishop back to e7 here.
Right.
But you can see that he really decided to take his time before making this move. But now it definitely feels like Martyna is sort of running out of plans. She might try to bring her h pawn down the board, but... And basically, here's the thing. With the pawn on a5, like as I was mentioning earlier, this queenside space gain is just not really possible. But here, it's going incredibly quickly. And where are these pieces really going?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Martyna is kind of on tilt right now. She feels like she had a really great chance, and now things are not working out for her. Things are going wrong. Vladimir is just steamrolling his pawns on the queen side, and what a defensive idea with rook e2 to b2.
Yeah.
Queen goes to h5. She's trying obviously to create play on the king side. And the thing with such a structure is that Vladimir can play all the good moves, make all the progress on the queen side, but one inaccuracy on the king side and the game is over.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously a double stack on the f file, the queen, the knight is ready to join, the bishop is there, looking here and also protecting c7. So you have to be really, really careful with white here, not to screw things up. But I think objectively, you do have a better position.
Yeah.
That being said, he did blunder the a5 pawn.
Oh, right.
Or maybe he didn't, because knight takes d4.
Well, what happens? Queen a5,
Knight
knight e6, queen c3.
Rook c2 simply. And then take on f8.
Like, I would want to go attack the f2 pawn, but it's kind of impossible. I guess.
And even if you could attack it, knight f8 removes a...
But wait, could you take on f2, rook takes, king takes, and then queen f6 in the end? So... What? Oh, right, f2. Okay. I thought you could just take on e6.
F2 is hanging. That means that you can take on e6, rook f2, and king h1.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, maybe.
But what about just queen c3 after that? You can't take on
f8. It's true. That's not a good idea. But you could swing the knight in, knight f3.
c3 is hanging, but
knight to g4 played.
That's very smart.
She's down to 18 seconds.
And how do you defend that?
Take
e6
c3, but now rook c2. e6 is falling. f2 is very well protected.
Queen a5, knight e6. That rook is trapped almost. Or
it's not trapped, but the coordination here of the black pieces is truly awful. And white's pieces are coordinating brilliantly. You could play a move like e5 if you wanna.
Yeah.
On the other hand, is untouchable.
She is a pawn up, so if she manages to
somehow
sacrifice a pawn, she might be fine. And obviously, she is winning the match if she does draw. I do think that Vladimir will win the group if he does win this game, because he beat Anton 5-1 compared to...
Yeah, that's true. And he beat Kompel pretty...
same as Martyna.
Oh, they had same.
4.5, 2.5.
But now Vladimir is also running short on time. He has not found a win here, it seems. And Martyna instantly brings a knight to g6. That's a relief always to play such a move. When you have a position where you feel like coordination is not working, and all of a sudden...
I feel like she's a bit happier now.
I think so too. And Bochnicka is going...
this is
running
so
really
intense.
long time. This could go either way. Rook brings to f8. Now she's ready for g6, although there's the fork. And she misses the fork.
Oh,
and
he misses also the fork. Oh, rook f2. Yeah, but c3 is hanging.
Oh! And Martyna
no, wait. I don't know what's happening.
Martyna is 2 pawns up.
She's gonna win, I think. Oh no, why is...
We've been disconnected once again. But... And my phone wants me to take a break from you.
Okay.
Queen to e2.
Wait, flip the board.
Flip the board. Queen d4. Keeping a pin. With queen f3. Queen f2. Oh, you want to play knight f3, but it's a pin, so you can't.
I mean, she can take a draw if she wants.
Yeah, actually.
Knight f3.
No, it's
oh, fuck.
He's still a pin. She could take the draw.
Queen d2, come on.
She doesn't want to take the draw, obviously.
I mean,
she's trending.
I guess she's happy with the draw because she's gonna win the match.
She had a draw in her hand, but she didn't take it.
I mean, she has this draw as well.
But, yeah, but I think she's gonna play queen for sure. Why would you draw this one?
Yeah, I'll just say that she did kind of lose on time in a certain game where she was.
Yeah, but the tournament situation is not serious.
Oh, okay.
And
she has won.
Wow,
that's such a back and forth match.
What a match!
Okay.
What a match. Let's see if we can get some thoughts from the players.
Okay, yeah, you start.
Hello, guys. Can you hear us?
Hello.
What an interesting match that was. Can you tell us a bit about your thoughts of the match? First of all, if we can get Vladimir's thoughts also later, but Yeah, you can start, Martina. I'm not sure if he's even hearing us right now.
Yeah. So I was very happy at first because I had a huge advantage, but after a few games I started to make it more equal, more interesting for you, I would say. So the last game I was super shaky, but I managed to, so I'm very glad.
Yeah, actually, I have a question for you, Vladimir, if you're able to hear us now.
Yeah.
The H4 move you played in move 2, that was a mouse slip, I assume.
Or is that playable?
Or was that...
When?
You played it in
which game?
French, like the knight came to H6. And you
Yeah.
basically played like H4. That was... I assume that was a mouse slip.
No.
Was that a move?
I thought I should play h4 here. I thought knight f5 will be moved. Something like knight
okay,
f5, bishop
yeah,
a5.
okay, yeah,
That
that makes sense.
Or maybe I just
It makes sense. We just because you played it so incredibly quickly.
I
we
just
thought
sort
you
of
accidentally did it.
forgot some theory.
Oh yeah, that
Like
happens.
h3 was move or what?
No, we have no idea, but we just thought like the point was to go
Oh.
knight g4, so we
And
did the h4 move. I just
maybe
wanted to
I
ask you
didn't
that
play well,
question.
so maybe it wasn't a good move. But in last game I could have gone knight h6.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we noticed.
I did something like that. Oh my god, I thought that's the end.
But we also had a moment we thought about in the next to last game when Martyna played queen g3 to try to pin the bishop.
Knight sacrificing in the Archangel.
Yeah, you played knight takes g5 and then queen d3, queen g3, but we thought you could play e5 instead of queen g3. That would open up the queen to g6.
It's kind of the same tactic as in the first Spanish game.
I completely forgot that after queen g6 the queen is protected, so I don't have much to say.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it was a very interesting match anyways. Obviously both of you guys are now finished.
As well in some game I played bishop f4, then g3, bishop g5, and she could play f4 to just fork.
Bishop g5. Wait, which opening?
The queen and the bishop. I absolutely forgot about that.
Was it?
I don't remember that either.
It was second game when I again.
Yeah, maybe we missed that too.
Forgot theory, and then I lost the exchange,
we could
then.
Wait, real quick. The second game, it was this one, right?
Or fourth game. Fourth game probably.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Or third. Oh, I don't know. But the Sicilian one, the Bochnicka Sicilian.
Oh yeah, that one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that game kind of gave us a heart attack.
After rook e1, bishop f4, g3, bishop g5, then f4.
This was the French game.
Oh no, not that game.
It's Bochnicka one, right?
So this one.
No, that was the one we just looked at.
No, it was not that game.
This was the French game.
Yeah, but he said game 4.
Oh no, maybe game 3, I don't know.
Okay. Did you win or lose that game? Okay, wait.
This was the Archangel game.
Yeah, this.
It wasn't this one, I don't think. I think it was the 5th one in that case.
Okay, anyways.
Yeah.
We're very happy that you played, and obviously now the playoffs are starting soon, and I guess we'll see you guys there. But thank you for playing now, and